What's up, people? I'm Xogue, and welcome back to Ryotcraft Infinity. Yeah, I know I have a new hat on. It's the breadfish hat. It's a fish inside of a loaf of bread. It's pretty cool. His name's Fred. Fred the fish. Fred the breadfish. Yeah, there we go. That'll work. So, I told you, in the last episode, we did a lot of work, and there's actually some changes that have happened, in the meantime. Like Clobberstomp here, who has... I don't know. This is a really, really cool design. I love that. I'm glad he, embraced the design that I set out, and he used it at the foot of his tree thing. It's awesome. It's crazy, but I don't know. Well, no, it's not crazy. It's awesome. It's just awesome. It's just what it is. Anyway, so I put these guys back up. I'm not sure if, I don't know. I don't know if this was here last time or not. I don't remember. Anyway, so, some things have changed, but this is what we did in the last episode. It was really cool. I really liked it, and now Spawn looks a lot better. So, as you know, if you followed the last couple episodes, I've been trying to come up with a homeworld design. Now, I want to show you a world that I created that helped me pick a biome that really was useless in the end, and you'll see why a little later. I'll get into that then, but for now, I just want you to take a sneak peek at this really, really cool world that I saw, because it's pretty amazing. Alright, where we are is my testing world for Mistcraft Ages. And what I've put together, I've done a lot of research, I've done a lot of experimenting, and what I wanted to do was actually make something... Ooh, there's a little bit of a lag thingy. Make something so I could see a lot of the biomes that I thought sounded pretty cool. And so I did. There's like 25 or 26 different types of biomes in this thing. It's on tiny biome distribution, which is why they're all, well, tiny. And it's kind of a thing that I'm working with. Now, this in its own right is really, really awesome. Now, I do have some kind of a status effect. I believe it's poison, which is really bad. Like, super, super bad. But I came here, I couldn't actually build in a world like this, even if I could get it to be stable, just because I think there's too many different designs and colors and all that kind of crazy stuff to make a base that would actually look good in every biome that it would cover. And I could, color each part of my build differently and blend it into the landscape and make like a chameleon base. But I don't really like, this looks really cool when it's in nature, so to speak. It's a Minecraft nature, but it's still nature-y. You got the trees and stuff, and it looks really cool. But if I had a base that was made out of colored stone, and there's only so many choices you can build a base out of. So it would be hard to make a base that would look really good in all of these biomes, even if I were to use a whole bunch of colored bricks or something. So I don't think something like this, while this is really, really cool to visit, maybe, I don't know, do something like this except flat world for I don't know, a mining world or something. I think that would be pretty cool, but not for an actual home world. And that's what we're trying to make. So I put this together just to see if I could figure out what kind of biomes that I want. Well, really, I'm looking for one biome, maybe two, if they're pretty close together. But I want it to be pretty much the same looking biome all over the place. Now, what I'm looking for in my world is a bunch of floating islands, like to the point where in between the islands is actually straight down to the void. Like, I don't want anything in between them, but just like floating islands in random places like that. And then on each of the islands have some kind of like a spike coming out, kind of like this right here. Now, this is the Alps biome. The only issue I have with this spike is that it's snow. I don't really want it to be a cold looking biome. And I guess I could manually change out all of this, use like a resonant exchanger or something to actually color these differently. But if I had to do that to every spike on every island that was generated in the world within eyeshot, it'd be a lot of work. And I would prefer to just have it done, via other means. So that's what we're pretty much looking for as far as that's concerned. But I like the shape. This is the kind of shape that I want for each of those islands, because I have some plans. If I can find a decent thing, I'm looking for like a ring of them. So if I have one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, basically a circle of these guys, and then have my base be like a ring around all of them. And then in certain parts of my base at certain elevations, it would go into the middle, and others it would be around the outside. So it kind of gives some variation to it. it'll mix it up quite a bit. And depending on the texture and color and material of these spikes, then, you know, I could work around that and use these guys as part of the base in a way that's a little bit different than just like holding it up. I could like try to integrate them into it, or I don't know. There's a lot of ideas flowing around in my head, and I don't know which ones are going to make it actually into the game or not. But I want to play around, and that's kind of the world that I'm looking for at the moment. And that's the world that I'm kind of looking for. I kind of told you I was looking for, you know, the islands where in between them goes straight down to the void, and I want the spikes and everything. And the reason that that world is actually useless is because I've chosen a completely different biome, one that doesn't have spikes, and I can't find a way to make the islands that I want. I don't know how to do it. I've had a world in the past. It was a randomly generated world. You know, I was just kind of playing around a little bit, and I made one that had those islands in it, and I was trying to recreate that. It wasn't the greatest one. It sure wasn't in this series, so I can't just, you know, copy it over or anything like that. But it was something that, I don't know, it was just one of those worlds. I was trying to find more books, more Mystcraft pages. And, you know, I went in there and I got some pages from it, but it was really cool. It was really hazardous. It had lightning and everything on it, but it was, I don't know, it was a really, really cool one. And I wanted to bring that back, but I cannot figure out how to actually make it. It doesn't seem like any of the terrain alterations or anything like that will actually cause that kind of a floating island thing. I don't know. I just can't figure it out. So what I'm going to end up doing is actually just making another void world. I know I said I didn't really want that too much, but it is a lot easier on the server, considering there's pretty much nothing around that can, you know, cause any problems. It's just an empty world. And it also does increase frames too, quite a bit if you build in a void world. And in reality, I can recreate, like if I do want to go with that spike route that I was talking about in that little clip I just showed you, I can create those artificially as well. I mean, it might be a lot of work, but hey, I'm in Minecraft. It is possible to do. So if I want to go that route, then I probably will. But I think right now, I'm just going to go ahead and make the void world that I wanted. And this right here is pretty much what I'm looking for. I'm going to go to Dogbless little area, his Mystcraft world over here. I fly so slow. I can't wait to get some draconic stuff to fly faster. But I'm going to head over here to his Mystcraft world. Mystcraft world? I mean, his Mystcraft station. And I'm going to donate some paper to him. You know, I mean, I can fill up his paper and I can fill up his ink here. I'll use these to fill up his ink. So that way, you know, I'm not really using too much of his supplies. And that way, you know, when I do this, it's not going to be a big deal. Now, what I need to do is I actually need to make, let's see if we can do this. Wait, let's do it this way. I need to go into Mystcraft. Where's M's? There it is. If I go into Mystcraft, we need these collation folders. Collation folders. And basically 2 leather and a string, that's not a big deal. And what we're going to do is we're going to put that right in here, which will allow us to right click. It'll use a piece of paper and some ink, and it'll duplicate these pages. And that way I'm not taking anything from his system. I'm just using it. I'm duplicating a page to put into this collation folder. And, you know, I'm going to use that as well as one of these guys, which also uses ink and paper. And the bookbinder, which, you know, you have the name that I will be working with here in a second. You put the link panel in here, you drop all the pages in here, which you can pretty much take this collation folder and just like click on it. It'll dump all the pages in there. I name it and I have my world. And that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing here in just a second. But I need to prep this stuff. I need to turn these ink sacs into it. I need to take another second look at this little video clip I made that basically tells me what world I'm trying to create, because I created it in a creative world. There's a lot of creating in that sentence. There's a lot of that word in there. Anyway, so you know, I did that in a creative world, and that way I know exactly what I want. It seemed to be pretty stable. That's obviously what I want here. Interesting. Oh, that's Bibliocraft. Okay. Anyway, and that's pretty much what I'm going to do. He has 2 of them. Interesting. Cool. Anyway, so let me get this stuff together, and I'll be right back when it's time to actually make the world. Alright, so I've already gone ahead and actually put together my thing. If I put this in here, you see it's already filled with pages. And that's pretty much because I couldn't remember all of them that I added in my creative world, so I had to go ahead and just do it. But I can open this guy up and actually explain to you what I chose and why I chose it. So there's not a whole lot, but first of all, you have the biome that you want. In this case, that's the Jungle Edge M. I don't know what the M does. In my creative world, I just use Jungle Edge. I'm not sure what the M adds, but I'm a little bit worried about that. But anyway, so then we have the single biome distribution, so Jungle Edge is going to be everywhere. The reason I got the jungle is because that way when I place down grass and jungle or leaves and stuff like that, they're all going to be really, really vibrant, and I really like the jungle look. So that's why I chose that. And then, of course, we have the void world, so I can build anything anywhere and it doesn't matter. We have no weather, which is perfect. We have bright lighting, which is also perfect. That means you can see even when I don't have a torch down. But mobs can still spawn. So even in those dark areas in our mob grinders and stuff that we're going to make, we'll still be able to see inside them, and it's not going to be a big deal. Then we have dark stars. We don't want any stars showing up, but it doesn't really matter because we have zero length, zenith phase, normal sun. What this does is basically it's eternal day, and the sun is always going to be in high noon phase. That's the zenith phase. That's straight up. Then we have zero length, rising phase, normal moon. Now the reason I did this is because I figured it was pretty cool just to see the moon off to the left. If it's eternal day, then it's kind of going to be like, you never see the moon, so I figured I'd put it in the sky, and it's not going anywhere because of the zero length. Then we have one floating islands. Now the reason I did this is because the other ones that I added, the star fissures, which in my opinion are the best thing to have. One, because you do have a way out just in case something happens and you forget to bring a book, or your book is destroyed somehow, something happens, you do have a way out of your world. But trying to put 6 of these in here, for some reason that caused instability. But in my creative world, I added 1 floating island and then 5 of them. Then it worked fine. Now, the reason I'm not adding other things is because I want it to be as much of a clear void world as possible. Now, floating islands are kind of cool, and I can technically choose what block I want for this in order, to choose what these floating islands are going to be made out of. But I'm not too worried about that. The game can choose that for me. And the star fissures, just because I don't want spheres, I don't want ravines, I don't want nether fortresses, I don't want any of that other stuff in the world. So I chose 5 more star fissures just to be like, hey, nothing but star fissures and maybe a few floating islands. Then we have the boundless sky, which removes that distance fog that you see. Now things will still, if you're out of render range, then they won't be rendered, but it removes that fogginess that happens right at that range. Then I want everything natural as far as the color of everything goes. We have the natural cloud, natural foliage, natural grass, natural sky, natural water. Now I was going to change out the liquid for something else, but since we're in a void world, nothing else is being generated in. And the only thing that would affect, if I were to choose a different block for the water, is the stuff that, is already generated in the map. When the world generates, that's when that would take effect. So if I were to put in like liquid enderium here, I can't just take a water bucket there and place it down. It'd still be water. So since there's no liquid in a void world, we're pretty much stuck with whatever natural watercolor, and that's fine. Then we have the clear modifiers. It's just a good idea to throw this at the end, because the way it works is if you have modifiers, for example, this zenith phase, zero length stuff, let's say I accidentally added a zero length in here twice before the normal moon or whatever, then the clear modifiers would remove that and prevent it from causing any kind of instability from that. Because if you have extra modifiers that aren't being used, it causes instability. So this just kind of takes anything that wasn't used away and prevents that instability, and we should be okay. So this is the world we're going to go with. And if we go right here to the link panel page and take this guy out, oh look, small step, wait, what does that say? Let's read it. Small step of the journey. Find a symbol. I didn't. Okay. Anyway, so then we can go here, put the link panel page in, drop our full thing here without too much of an issue. And we're going to name this the XOGUIVERSE, of course. Same thing I named the other ones, because that's what it is. It's a XOGUIVERSE. One-way ticket. Now what we need to do is we actually need to create a linking book. Yeah, one of these guys. Now this is the linking book. This is what's going to bring us back. We want to set that, but we have to make this guy first. And so I'm going to go ahead and make that guy, and we're going to go check out this world once I got some more stuff set up for that. It'd be pretty cool. Alright, so here we are back at my little base thing, and what I have here is a linking book. Now, I didn't actually explain this to you, but you have the linking book right here. There's also an unlinking book, right? You have this guy right here, and basically what you do is you take a link panel page. Oh, they don't even show it in here. But it was from that ink mixer that you saw me actually, the thing I put right at the beginning. You take one of those and a piece of leather and combine it in the crafting grid, and you get your unlinking, what is that called? Unlink, this thing. Unlinked link book. And then you just basically right click with it in your hand somewhere, and it will link it to that spot. So then you can take that into whatever world you want to come into, in our case, XOGUIVERSE, and you place down a lectern, put the book on it, and you're good to go. It's pretty much a thing you can do like that. So, we're going to go check out this world, and hopefully it's decent. Hopefully we don't have any status effects, but we do have what we need to come back. So if we do have to shoot back real quick, everything's on our bar, everything is good to go. So hopefully it's a decent world and nothing is wrong. We're going to find out. Now, keep in mind, it does take a little while to load. So it's going to be really, really glitchy here. My world just crashed. Alright, so my world, or not my world, my client actually crashed when I tried to load into this place the first time. But it's okay because I came back and everything is fine. Now, when I first got here, don't worry about that, I'll explain it in a minute. But when I first got here, I actually did have a status effect. I had weakness on. And since it's not a cheaty world, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, you see the blocks up there, that's all stone and dirt. It's got trees on top and stuff, which is actually kind of cool. I could use the trees. Anyway, you know, there's nothing cheaty. It's just a big old void world. So I asked Cribs to come in here and just remove that because there are certain instabilities that are just kind of inherent in creating worlds. Like, there's always a chance of an instability being applied to your world, your age when you come here. So, you know, that was just a random chance. I had a little bit of bad luck. So rather than just creating the same world like 4 times until I got one that didn't have a status effect, I just asked Cribs to come on here and just remove it for me because it's kind of a thing. It's just a random chance kind of deal. It's nothing, you know, I don't have things made out of diamond ore blocks and liquid cryothium in here or anything special like that. So it's not really a big deal. Anyway, so this is the idea. Right now, this is the spawn platform. This is what you get when you first load into a void world. This is your starting place. So what I have here is obviously I have my way back, so that's not a big deal. But what I'm going to do, that's why the circle's here, is because I just want a bigger platform to work from. This is more than likely going to be torn down, you know, once I actually start designing this place. But I need to get up and running with a, you know, an actual, you know, everything, basically. I need a quarry, I need better armor, I need everything. So I'm going to get started on all that stuff like the AE system and everything. And in the meanwhile, this is pretty much just going to stay a platform. This is going to be what we work from, but it's not a huge deal as far as designing it just yet. We're not going to get to that right away. So I'm just going to go ahead and make out this platform. And once I do that, I can bring it back and we can start working on some other stuff. I think I want to work on the AE system next. I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to do. All right, so here we are. Oh, lag. It just came back from my home world. Now, if we look over here, my spawn house is gone. You see it says spawn base? Wow, why are you having so much trouble loading the world? Stop it. But you see how it says spawn base and there's nothing here? Yeah, I need to remove that waypoint because, like I mentioned, I don't really need a spawn base, to be quite honest. There isn't a huge point to it, in my opinion. I just don't. I'm so far behind that I need to start actually building my real base. I need to do... Ooh, words. I just need to go ahead and move out to my actual base and start doing everything there. And that's why this guy is right here. As we... Wait. Oh, you go away. Like that. Now, I'll get to that why I was searching for Certus here in a second. But when we go over into here, let's go ahead, take a look. I have the platform made out. I've moved everything over into this place. Load in. Thank you. You know, I have all these chests and I'm all the way. All of these are filled up to this one. This one's starting to be filled right here. And I have my other setup over here. Now, I have certain things in place. But remember what I said? I wanted to get started with the AE system, right? So we have a power source. Yeah, okay, it's not a very great one. It's not the best thing ever, and it's kind of crappy, in fact. It's really pretty bad. But it is a thing that provides power. So what we can do is we can go ahead and look up the energy acceptor, which is the first step that you need. You need to be able to convert energy into AE, and that's why we have this guy right here. So you can use iron, not a problem. Quartz glass, you need Certus quartz for this. And you need, oh wait, no, this one. And then if you go drop one charged Certus quartz, one nether quartz, and one redstone dust into a puddle, and you get 2 Fluix crystals out of it. Now that's what we need to start with. We got to start with the basics. This is the basics of the basics, people. We need one of these in order to convert this power into the power we need for our AE system. But that brings me to why I was searching for Certus. And if you didn't know, you can type in whatever you want down here and then double click it, and it'll make it turn yellow. And what this will do, for example, let's show you what it does. Let's say I was looking for sand. It will highlight all of the sand blocks. You see that? How they're not darkened? So if we're looking for Certus quartz, we can type in Certus, and you see nothing's highlighted. Nothing is highlighted. Nothing is highlighted. Nothing is highlighted. Nothing. Nothing. And nothing. We have absolutely 0 Certus quartz. Now, I have already been told a few times, let me take this off. I have already been told a few times that, you know, I can, you know, borrow supplies from other people. A couple people told me that. One of them being Dog Bless, and I'm sure he has plenty of this stuff. But you also know, if you've watched me for any length of time, that I do like to do things on my own. I don't like to use other people's stuff if I don't, you know, if I don't have to. And I really don't. I mean, there's no reason that I have to do that, so I don't want to. But what we do need to do is I need to go ahead and collect these supplies. Now, I'm going to go ahead and lay out exactly what I need. I need the energy acceptor first. Like I said, that converts to power. That's what you need first. Then once you have the energy acceptor, you can get the energy cell, which is just, this isn't strictly required, but it is good practice to have one of these, because that way if your power can come in and out like this one can, you know, my lava source, sometimes it can kind of glitch in and out. And if that happens and you don't have an energy cell in your ME system, then it'll kind of turn on and off. You know, with the change in power. So if you have an energy cell, it kind of creates a buffer, and that way it's not so big of a deal. It'll stay a lot more constant that way. So we need one of these guys as well, which means we need more Fluix dust, more charged Certus quartz. Nope, you can use regular Certus quartz too. That's good. That's really good. And then we need to go ahead and connect that. We need some Fluix cable, which is actually required if we want to see anything in our system. So we can get the ME glass cable, which means I need more Fluix crystals. I need some of this quartz fibers stuff. And then we need to do, we need at least one terminal. Let's just go straight to the crafting terminal because that's what I like. So we need the calculation processor, which means we need to go ahead and get an inscriber. We need to get a pure Certus quartz crystal, which is what I told you. I can use other people's crystal growth accelerators to get one of these real quick. That's not too big of a deal. So we can get that without a problem. We can get the rest of that stuff without a problem. And what we can do then is go ahead and get an ME drive. And then we need 2 more. We need 2 engineering, which means we need a couple diamonds. We have those. That's not a problem either. More glass cable here, some iron. That's not a big deal. All right, the problem comes in when we want to get some kind of storage for our items, and I don't ever go to the 1K. The 1K is not something that I ever do. I always skip straight to at least the 4K. So what I normally do is by the end of whatever, I'll have 1 ME drive, maybe 2 ME drives filled with 4K drives, and then everything else is all 64K drives. And now I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'll end up getting a couple 4Ks, which means if I want 2 or 3 of these to start off with, just to hold these bits of items right here, then I need to get 1, 2, 3 1Ks per, plus another pure Certus quartz crystal. So I need to get a bunch of Certus quartz, basically. I need a lot of these. So I need, like, I'm going to want 12 to 16 of these guys, or 12 to 15 of these guys. And, you know, we can just kind of deal with it that way. And that way we can get a few 4K, storage components, turn them into 4K storage cells, just like this, once we get those guys. And then we can start storing our items into our system. And that's everything that we need. That's a lot of stuff, which means I need to go mining. I need to go and collect a whole bunch of stuff, which I am going to do in between episodes, because there's not a whole lot of time left in this episode, and that's like the perfect time. I'll just go mining a bunch. And that way when I come back, all of these chests will probably be filled with stuff. That's the likely situation that's going to go on. And I should have a decent amount of Certus quartz and everything like that. So it shouldn't be a big deal. That's what we're going to do. And yeah. So if you liked the episode, don't forget to hit that like button. If you want to see more, you want my videos sent directly to you, then don't forget to subscribe. Comment, favorite, share if you feel like you want to. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.